Good morning. So I just woke up and I had this really interesting dream. And I thought that I would share this now while it's still fresh in my head. Um, so basically, I had this dream that it kind of made me think like there's something more to this. Like, why was I having this dream? It was just kind of interesting. And I won't go into the details of it. But I started journaling about my dream because I've been hearing about how journaling our dreams can really help us to like process things and see things that maybe um, we deep inside need to work out and process, but maybe we haven't been like facing that in life. So, anyways, long story short, I'm trying to journal dreams, and as I was writing down my dream and kind of thinking about it, it really did like make so much sense, and it just became this huge like aha moment where I realized like, oh my gosh, this is why I had this dream. This is what I'm trying to work out. And it has been something I've been really struggling with for years and years of my life. And this dream kind of put light on that. And I honestly don't think I would have realized that unless I did take the time to write it out and actually think about what was happening in this dream. But basically, what it came down to, without me going on to details about my personal life issues, is it just gave me this overall view of how much we choose to live in our own prisons. Basically, what I mean by that is there are certain things in our life that we cling to. That's not good for us and is not healthy for us, and it's holding us back. And we can at any point walk away from it, but we choose not to. And the tricky part about it is it doesn't feel like you can walk away. It's like almost this mind game of like, you think that you don't have an option where you can't walk away from this one thing, but the reality is you do. And that's basically what this dream revealed to me. So, my personal thing was it was something to do with part of my family. And there was this family dynamic in my life that wasn't healthy for me. And I was always raised and believed my whole life that my family is everything. Like, they are literally your blood. They are your everything. You love them. You accept them. You never leave them. Like, all of these things I feel like most people grow up on. And I'm not saying all of that's wrong. But what I did is I held that belief in... I held on to that belief. And despite what was like actually occurring in my life, that belief overruled like what was healthy for me, if that makes any sense. And I'll try to do my best at explaining this without all these details, but I think like this can apply to everybody's life. Mine happens to be, and only like one of mine. I also believe we have several of these things that hold us back, but this one I specifically just had a dream on was about family. But I think this can be about anything. It can be about family. It can be about a relationship. It can be about a job. It can be where you live. It can be a lifestyle that you chose. I mean, it can be a million things. It can be a religion, a belief, like anything. Any of these things that are holding you back, like this all has to do, this topic can relate to any of them. So, I'm going to use a little bit of mine to just explain that process that I'm working through. So, basically what my dream revealed to me is I have these beliefs, right? Like, you have these beliefs that like my family is everything, and I can't leave them. I have to love them. Whatever, etc. Okay? So, even though I've had an unhealthy experience that was happening within my family, I have always kind of ignored that part and thought like, well, even though this hurts, even though like more than hurts, like even though there's times it's excruciatingly painful, I have to accept it, basically. Like, and that's where the part where I'm talking about where it feels like you don't have a choice in the matter. So like, because my beliefs were you have to love your family, they're everything, I had this underlying guilt that if I stand up for myself, or if I make healthy boundaries, or if I walk away for a while, like I was so riddled in guilt because it felt so wrong, because it was breaking my belief of like that I can't do that, that even though it not be healthy for me, that family belief overrides whatever you feel. So kind of unconsciously, I have been tiptoeing and trying to please and not being who I am, and living in a lot of anxiety and fear and guilt and all these things that come along with like you trying to do something you shouldn't or don't need to do, right? I'm trying to force myself to live a life that's not me. And basically that's what it comes down to, is like, who are you really? And is this life really that you're living, is this really for you and who you are and what you need? I believe like every single person is so completely unique and has a completely different life journey, and creates their own beliefs and their own stories to share and all of these things, and there's no life that is the same. But yet we group them all together and we give them generalizing things to make us think that we are all supposed to be the same, whether it's through beliefs or religion or practices, families, whatever. We feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, so this is what I am gonna do, and even though like that doesn't work for you. And so I'm calling whatever it is that you're clinging on to that is not healthy for you, that is not made for you, that doesn't function in your own personal life. I'm gonna call it like a prison. Because that's what kind of came to me as I was processing through this. And why I call it a prison is because it feels that way. It feels like a prison. When you are living a way that is not genuine to yourself, you feel enslaved to it. Like you feel like a prisoner in your own life. And the reason is because it's not, that's not you. And you're forcing yourself to do something, to be someone that's not you. And so it's very harmful. Like if you think of a prison, you are stuck there. You are limited. You can't live a free life. You have to live within your prison cell. And so as you construct and live through these beliefs that are not really yours, they're just from society, you are limiting yourself to that. And you're not allowing yourself to go past that. And so your life is stuck in this little prison cell. And my dream just revealed to me what one of my little prison cells were. And what the crazy part was is as I was processing through my dream, I realized that I don't have to be in this prison. Like, I thought that I had to do this. I thought that I had to live a certain way, that I don't have a choice. And even though it doesn't feel good, even though it can feel miserable, even though it holds me back from being a good, happy person, I felt like I had no choice. I was stuck in this prison. But what I saw is I'm not stuck at all. The reality is our prison door is open. There's a door behind us and it's wide open. But we are so busy looking straight ahead at the world in front of us that we are told how it is. If it makes any sense. So picture you're in a jail and in front of you is the world that you knew it and this beliefs that you constructed and that you have to be this way, you have to do that way, and you feel like, wow, this is my life. This sucks, but this is my life. I'm in jail. I can't do anything about it. But the reality is, if you would just close your eyes, you would just take some time to break free from what's happening in front of you. If you can just disconnect from whatever it is that's causing your beliefs, whether it's social media, a family, religion, society, norms, whatever it is, if you can just stop obsessing on it for a little bit and just spend some time with yourself. Close your eyes. Think about things. Start questioning things. And if you were in that process and you actually sat down and you closed your eyes and you look around your room, you would realize right behind you this entire time has been a door that is wide open and you can walk out at any moment, but you have been too busy focusing on whatever it is that you have been to notice there's a door right behind you. And behind you, through that door, is an entire world. Like, you know this little prison cell, right? And you think it's miserable. But the reality is and you compare your prison cell to your world. For years and years, you thought that prison cell was your world. You thought that this is all there is to life. But then you finally turn around and you see that there is an entire world. And it is completely open to you. You just have to take the time to turn around and find that door. And then there's another step to it, because it sounds so easy to just run out of the prison, right? Like, you would picture, like, well, if I was living in prison and I turned around and I saw a door, I would just run out of there as fast as I could. But it's not that simple. And that's the big thing that this dream was revealing to me is when you see something that is new, it is scary. The unknown to us naturally is scary because we don't know what's gonna happen. So a lot of people, first of all, won't find that there is even a door because they're just so preoccupied they're so consumed in their life as they know it. They're so consumed in chaos. They're so consumed in unhappiness or whatever it is, that they don't even notice there's a door. Okay, so a lot of people are just stuck there. But then there's the next level where someone realizes there is a door, but then they'll never become free. And the reasoning is because it's scary. You don't know what's beyond that door. You know what's in your prison. You know what to expect. You know how the things go every day. You know, I personally have never been in jail, but I've seen stuff on TV, and it seems like it's very routine. You know, if you think of being in a jail, they have their set things, and it's routine, and you know what's gonna happen for the most part, right? Like, it's, if that's your world, you know your world, and you know what it's like, versus you turn around and you see this incredible earth full of things you've never seen before. You see animals and people and trees and flowers and all these things where if you don't know that ahead of time, so we're gonna go another step further and say you were born in this jail, okay? We'll say your mom was in jail and you were born in this jail, so you don't know life outside of this jail. Okay, this is a better way to describe this. So you're looking out into this world and you're like, what is that? And you could be afraid of a butterfly because you've never seen a butterfly. You could be afraid of all of these things. Like, this is terrifying. What is this weird, crazy world? You've never seen it before. And so you choose to stay in your prison because you're too afraid of what is going to happen if you leave. Will you have food? Will you have water? Will you have family? Will you know anyone? Are there monsters out there? You know, will I die? What will happen if I decide to leave this prison? And so they just say it's too scary. I'm never going to leave, because even though the prison isn't fantastic, at least you know what it is. At least you know that you're somewhat safe. At least, you know what to expect. And it's not until we decide, not until we are brave enough and we decide to take a step out of that door, and you begin to look around and you realize, like, it's not too bad out here. You know, like, oh, that butterfly's not gonna hurt me. I mean, it's beautiful. Like, what's that flower over there? Oh, that's beautiful. And you start to kind of question things and look at things and test them, little baby steps at a time. And you see a bird flying and you look at that, and etc., right? And you just begin to see the beauty, and it makes you question it more, and it makes you think, like, maybe there is more to life outside of this jail. And you can start taking little baby steps. And what my dream was showing me is I have been standing at that doorway for a very long time. I personally, in this one specific topic that I had a dream about, I once was very much imprisoned. But a few very heartbreaking things happened that made me question and start looking around. It made me, honestly, a lot of times, what makes you realize you're in a prison to begin with is pain. And I think that's something people really have a hard time with, is understanding and accepting, why do we go through things that are painful? Why is there pain in this world? Why do, like, bad things happen? And although I don't fully understand it, and I don't think anyone will, I do realize that it is out of that pain that makes you realize that there's something more to life. And it was out of my own pain that it made me step back, and it made me question my prison cell. And it made me think, like, is this right for me? Is this loving? Is this a loving environment? Is this fueling me? Is this making me a better person? Is this how I want to live? Like, it starts making you question all these little things. And it's not, unless you had that pain, you wouldn't have stepped back to think about it. So as I was in pain and you're sad, you isolate, right? And so I'm kind of drawing back and isolating, but as I'm drawing back and isolating, I begin to look around and I begin to question. So after you're done crying your heart out, you peek up and you look around. You look around your room, you look around where you are. And that's when I saw my door. And slowly over time, I started creeping up to that door and checking out that door. And I thought, what the heck is this thing? And I started, peeking at it. And I started looking outside. And I started watching the birds and the flowers and the butterflies. But from a distance, I watched it from my jail. And I thought, well, that looks nice. But that's not reality. Like, my jail's reality, right? Like, that's all there is. But it was nice enough to watch. And I always thought, that's a wonderful life. That's a wonderful thing, but that's not me. I would love to be a part of that, but that's just not in the cards for me, so to say. But the more time I spent reflecting on all of it, the more courage I got, and the more interest I had on this other world, so to say. And I started wandering out a little bit and a little bit more. And what my dream was really pounding to, really showing to me, is showing me, okay, you've seen this other world. You've seen life outside of your jail. You know what it's like. You might not know everything, and it still might be a little scary, and you don't for sure know what's going to happen. But you're starting to realize that it's clearly way better and more exciting and fulfilling than this jail. And even though it's scary, and you might have to take a risk, and I can't promise nothing bad will happen, but I can promise you that the opportunities are endless. When you compare your life from a prison cell to an entire free world, it's endless. And that adventure, those opportunities far outweighs any negative thing that can happen from leaving, in my personal opinion. I've been just realizing that it's just yes, I'm taking a risk exploring and leaving this jail, but then I can create a full life. I might not know what happens, and yeah, I might run out of the jail, and along my way I'll fall and trip on a rock and scuff up my knee, but I can get back up and I can keep going, and I can build a life, a happy life, a fulfilling life, a life that is yours. You don't have to stay in this box. You get to create whatever world and whatever life you want to, but only if you choose to leave. And that's what I saw in my dream, is I am standing at the doorway, and I have been for a while, and I have one foot inside the jail, and I have one foot outside of the jail, and I've been kind of frozen there because it's and I keep leaning one way or another. I'm okay, I'm gonna go, okay, maybe not, okay, I'm gonna go, maybe not. And and it's this internal battle that you have. But my dream was showing me that you need to be done. Stop fearing the unknown world. And it just showed me the reality of being in this jail, that I'm doing it for nothing. Like, the door is wide open. Nobody is forcing me to be stuck in this prison cell. And I'm deciding to limit my life and to not live a fulfilling, wonderful life to the best of my ability, because I'm too afraid to just go. And it showed me like my fears and what a lot of people's fears are. It can be as simple as like a fear of guilt. That's a huge one for me. I felt like, if I decide to leave this prison, I have so much guilt because I was told I shouldn't. And now I am. And you have a lot of guilt and a lot of fear too. Like, will I be accepted? Will I be loved? What's going to happen when I leave this jail? Everyone I know is inside this jail. So, like, once I leave and I try to start a new world, am I going to be alone? Am I the only human outside of this earth who's run away from the jail? And now when I leave the jail, no one at the jail is going to talk to me anymore? Like, these are very genuine fears most of us have. But I am sharing this with you today because I just realized that enough is enough. We have to be brave. We have to do it. It's going to be so worth it. And I want this to be my moment of stepping out of my jail fully. And I have no idea what that will bring. And I know I'm going to get some scuffs along the way. And I might get stung by a few bees or bit by something, who knows what. But that will get better. And I get to wander out and I get to go build whatever life I want. And the most amazing part of that is you can too. Every single one of us is clinging and holding on to something. Every single one of us is not living our full potential because we are too afraid to leave. We're too afraid to explore. Or we're simply too busy, consumed in whatever little things that we do on a day-to-day, whether it's social media or beliefs or whatever. We're so consumed in things. We're so consumed in chaos and the news and social media and blah, 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 that we just don't even know it's an option. So I'm telling you, it is an option. There is a door right behind you. And I am giving you permission to have the courage to dare to explore outside your little jail. I'm going to be rooting you on, and I am excited to see what it brings in my life, deciding to finally break away. And I know that also it's a continuing process. Just because I make this decision on this one topic, we tend to have little prison cells for many topics. But every time you have the courage to step out of one, it gets a little bit easier to step out of the next one, and then the next one, until you're completely and totally free. And I don't think there are very many people in this world who are totally free. And the freedom I'm talking about, it's not financial, it's not physical. It's like all like it's like mental, like spiritually mental freedom. Like the freedom to be you, whatever that is. And you get to be whoever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And I unfortunately think most people in our lives are living lives out of obligation and not choice. And that looks different for everybody. Like I said, it can be a relationship, it can be a job, it can be where you live, it can be family, it can be religion, it can be a million things. But whatever it is, I know that every single person has several topics, several things that are shaping and forming their lives and that are holding them back from their true potential. So if you ever feel frustrated, if you ever feel sad, if you ever feel lonely, if you ever feel angry, all these emotions that we have, they are all a sign. They are all showing us something. For me, I really struggled with frustration a lot and anger, which is hard because I'm a person who really, really wants to be a kind person, and that's my natural state. I'm a natural loving person, which I believe we all are. But I very much love, and it's very hard for me to feel anger and to feel frustration. It just feels so wrong, but yet uncontrollable. And I'm beginning to realize, so I used to shame myself because it's like, you're an angry person, you're a frustrated person, that means you're bad, right? Or you yelled at someone, you're bad, or you didn't take care, like you yelled at your kids and I didn't want to yell at my kids, or so I'm a bad mom, or whatever it is, right? So I used to really beat myself up and have a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. But what I'm beginning to realize is these emotions are not making you a bad person. They may make you do things you don't want to do, so to say, and you're being a person you don't want to be. But the emotion themselves is not bad. The emotion is a sign. It's showing you that you're still inside your prison. If you are full of anger, if you are full of guilt, all of these negative emotions, if they consume you, if they feel uncontrollable, it's because you are not living your own life how you need to live it and living it to your full potential. So instead of beating yourself up, and instead of feeling guilty once again and saying you're a crappy person, I want you to shift that. I want you to change that mindset and realize, okay, this anger is telling me something. That means there's something not right. And I want you to take a breath and spend some time by yourself in thought and just think, why? Where is this coming from? Why do I feel overwhelmed? Why do I feel angry? The reality is I don't feel angry because my kids are whining. The reality is I feel angry because I'm jamming a million things in my life and I'm tiptoeing around people I don't want to tiptoe around. And I'm so overwhelmed in life because of how I'm forcing myself to live a way I'm not designed to. That the whining is just the cherry on top that sets me over. I can handle whining. I can't handle a whole life full of chaos and contradicting things for myself and doing things that I don't want to do or that go against my beliefs or etc. or whatever it is, and then listen to whining as well. So I want you to start narrowing down why. And the only way to do that is to spend time with yourself and allowing yourself to question. That means for me it was turning off social media. I tend to notice when I get into the habits of continually like scrolling on things, I get so lost. It's such a distraction. It also means spending time for yourself, which I want to spend an entire another video on. It's an entire huge topic, that it's its topic itself on self-care. And I think that's something that is so a taboo word, and people also use the word inappropriately and think like self-care is like, I'm gonna go get my nails done and I'm gonna go shopping and I'm gonna go do this, and it's like, no, like that can be a part of your self-care, but it's so much more than that, and that's an entire topic on its own that I will get to. But you need time with yourself, and that's mainly what self-care is spending time with yourself, not caring for someone else, not in a situation you don't want to be in, where you can just turn everything else off and just breathe and think and be thankful and dig into yourself on, why do I feel the way I do? What do I really want? What do I really believe? Who am I? What do I even like? I mean, my whole journey lately, so much of it has been just like trying to discover who I even am. I mean, when I first started this, I'm like, I don't even know what I like. I don't even know what I didn't know anything because I was so consumed in living a life that everybody else is living a life everyone told me I should live, believing and doing what I'm told I should do and believe. I mean, I had no thoughts for myself. And it is a huge eye-opener when you realize that your entire life is literally created for you. You did not partake in making these decisions. It wasn't because this is true to you. It wasn't because this is your passion and your whatever, you know. It was just what you feel like you should do or what you're told to do, and that in itself is a huge wake up. It was a huge wake up for me of just realizing how consumed into my prison I really was, like fully consumed. I didn't know there was anything else outside of it. So that's the first step. But yes, the only way we're gonna get there is if you shut stuff off. And if you start spending some time by yourself, start journaling your dreams. I know I'm guilty of it where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. And then it's like, oh, that seems like just so much work and time. And I'm waking up to kids screaming. I don't have time to journal. Then you don't have to every time, but just try. Like today I happen to be, for those of you who don't know me, I am a travel nurse. And so today I happen to have one day off, which is very, very, very rare. So I actually have one day where I'm not taking care of patients and I'm not taking care of my family. And that's very rare for me. And so I'm trying to take advantage of it. And I woke up and I had a dream, and my first instinct was to just continue on with life. Like, you just get in the habit of being busy that it feels weird to not be busy. So I was just gonna turn on a show or look at my phone or whatever. And then I actually did turn on a YouTube video, but the YouTube video, thankfully, was talking about the importance of dreams, which is I don't believe in like anything being ironic anymore. I feel like I don't know. It's all happens for a reason. But it was perfect because I just woke up from this weird dream, this very revealing dream. I didn't put time and thought into it to really take it in and really actually have it change me. And here I was turning on TV just to have a distraction, just because you're used to being distracted all the time. And what feels right. So I turned it on and I'm watching this YouTube video, and it talks about the importance of listening to yourself, writing about your dreams, paying attention to the world that's happening around you, paying attention to what you like and don't like and all these things, and kind of like self-discovery stuff. And it made me realize, like, oh my gosh, I need to sit down and write about this dream. And as I was writing about it, this is all revealed to me. And all it took was for me to actually take 5 minutes of my life to put down the YouTube videos. Don't look at my phone. Don't do something to distract myself. And just take 5 minutes to write it out. And as I wrote it out, it all just came pouring out. And that's what almost always happens. And it's absolutely amazing. And I am 100% guilty of saying, like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for anything, which I am a very, very busy person, don't get me wrong. But I can have time. I just like to do other distracting things instead. Because the reality of us humans, we don't like to look at ourselves a lot. We don't like to look into what could be better. It's just so much simpler to just numb yourself. Instead of like figuring out why you're stressed, how to deal with your stress, make it better, learning about yourself, changing your life to better fit yourself. Instead, it's just so much easier to just grab Facebook, grab Pinterest, look at videos, look at pictures, and just scroll through, watch a Netflix series, and just eat some popcorn and zone out and not think about anything. And I'm telling you, that is doing so much damage. And I'm 100% guilty of it. But today I just decided, you know what? I'm turning it all off. And that video also talked about isolation and how important that is. And if you've noticed, if you know anything about like just different religions and stuff, every like what would they be called? I don't even know. Like Jesus and Buddha and all these like people of religions and people who are I don't know the right word to describe it, but all these people and teachers and things in different religions, they all isolated. Like, they all spent time alone. All of the other gurus and other people around the world, they all spend time alone. And that is so, so, so important. So even if you only have 3 minutes, or even if you only have, you know, an hour here or there before the kids wake up or after they go to bed or before you start work or whatever, if you take that time and instead of looking at social media, you just take time to just think and listen to yourself, that will completely change your life. And I'm here to tell you that. It is completely changing my life. And the hard part about it is, even though it's completely changing my life, for some reason, I still want to grab my dang phone all the time. It's just horrible habits. I know it's damaging to me. I know that I'm not all, like I do get a lot of inspiration from my phone. It can do wonderful, amazing things. There's so many good videos, etc. Like, it is an amazing, fantastic tool, but you need to know your limits. And it can be a tool, but start trying to change it to be a tool that fuels you and not a tool that numbs you. And I think that is gonna be life changing. If you can use it to help you and not to numb you, and instead of just numbing yourself, you dig in and you figure out why, and you actually make life changes to better your life. Like, you don't have to live a miserable life. You can live a life full of joy. You can live a life that is inspiring. These are not for these saints and greats and whatever people. This is for every single everyday humans. It doesn't matter where you are, how much money you make, whatever you do. We all have challenges, but we all have the opportunity to also have happiness. But we have to choose to get that happiness. It doesn't just fall from trees. We have to decide to live a life that is fulfilling. And that's not easy. It's a choice we have to make and something you have to work at. But once you do, once you actually are brave enough to step outside and explore the world, you are going to be so thankful, and it's going to be so amazing, and it's going to be so much better than you ever imagined. And I am just so excited to be part of this journey, and I'm just hope that this can give you some insight or some inspiration to do it yourself. And if anything, just knowing that you're not alone. I am struggling. Everyone's struggling. And we're all on this journey together. You know, they talk about like the collective conscious, and that's such a real thing. Like, we are all struggling and learning and living and trying to better ourselves together. And I just think that is so beautiful. And yeah, I hope this helps in any way. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me. Yes, I hope you have a wonderful day.